In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create this whole animation from scratch. Now, before you start working on this type of animation or this type of storytelling, first of all, you need to come up with your script. That is, you need to have an idea, then you write the script. Then, when you're done with the script, you can decide, do you want to record it yourself? 90% of the time, you record it yourself because you use your own voice or you use someone else's voice. But this time, I make use of 11th Lab. First of all, you need to download all of these resources. The image, the voiceover and everything, because the purpose of this tutorial as a whole is for you to learn how to create something like this so that you can create something similar or different by yourself. Because when you learn how to create things like this, now you can use what you learn. You can just remake something different based on what you learn here. First of all, we need to create a project. So let me go to the Alight Motion app. In your Alight Motion app, let's create a project. Now, if you don't know how to create a project, if you don't know what all of this means, I don't want to waste your time. For the beginners, you can check out our YouTube. We have a tutorial video on this. I will explain all what you need to know. So let's give this a name. It's very important you name your project. Very important to name your project so that you can easily identify it, because as time goes on, you'll be having plenty of projects. So if all of them is untitled, to not be efficient. Alright, so I'll give it a name. If you check the video, you can see that this is a dimension that match. Not this, not this, not this. It's this. 1:1. Now, I'll go with the 1080p. For some of you, you might see a resolution higher than this. You might see 4K, 2K. So it depends on your phone. But for mine, this is the highest and this is okay. Full HD is okay. Frame rate 24, background I'll go with gray because we'll still change the background, so it's not a big deal. So now let's create a project. Okay, now let's go back to that slide. Alright, so this slide is a step-by-step guide on how this project was created. Okay, so first of all, we need to import the voiceover. And the reason for importing the voiceover is because it will enable us to time our animation properly. Because if we don't have the voiceover, it's like we're animating blindly. We will not know where the first set of animation needs to end, which is not good. So we need to first of all bring in our audio, which is our voiceover. And I already have that. Like I said, I'll provide a Google Drive folder with all the assets. You just download it before you start with this tutorial. Alright, so you click here, you click on the audio section, go to the view all, and let's check the album. So you can see we have different folder here, but most likely the audio will be in the download. So you just click the download and click here to preview. Alright, this is the audio, this is the voiceover I want to use. So just click this plus to add it to your timeline. Right, so you can just preview. There was a man who saw the world in electricity. His name was Nikola. Alright, so that's the first step. Now let's go back to that slide again. Now step 2, we need to create this background. Now if you take a look at this is simple. We just bring in our image, then we'll add some couple of effects to get this look. Now the reason why I came up with this look is not like I have it in mind. I was just playing around with the effects to see how I can create something that I like. So I end up liking this type of effect. So the reason for this is because I already know how the effects work in Alight Motion. So I have that in mind. So your goal now is for you to understand how the effects that Alight Motion provide. Try to play around with them. Play around with it. Then as you work on projects, you have it in the back of your mind which effects to use to create the kind of look you are looking for. So alright, so for this now, like I said, if I've downloaded the folder, the assets in the folder, this image will be there. So let's go back and import our image. So we'll import it. Sometimes when you import it, it's bigger than the composition, so we can just, like this, say scale in the background. That is, we import it and we scale it in. All right, so let me first of all import the image, then we'll go with the next step. So this, we click here, we click on our media tab, and you can see here is it, this one. Okay, so click on it to bring it in. All right, so let's just scale it up to fill the composition like this. All right, something like this. Okay, so now if you take a look at the sample we have here, you can see that the background was, the animation of the background scales in. Okay, so now let's replicate that first, because that's the step right there. Animate the background using the scale property. That is, we are animating in. You can see it starts big, then we animate it, then we shrink it down till it fits the composition. That's the kind of effect we're going for. Okay, so now let's just go here. But this time, like I say, the reason we import the audio is because we don't want to animate these things blindly. We want to know where and where to stop. So let's play.
Once there was a man who saw the world in electricity. His name was Nikola Tesla.
Okay, so now if you look, the first set of animation, that is the first part we'll be creating, will end around here, around 6 seconds. We can still modify it, but around 6 seconds roughly. So because this is also another,
in a time when the world,
this is also another section on its own. So because that's how I want it. You might want to join all of them together. Maybe you have a way, but based on the tutorial I created, the sample I created, the first section ends around here. So I will split this. That is, I split the voiceover into two. I can just bring this one down so that the voiceover will be down. So you can just move it out. Anyway, so for the background, let's increase the length to 6 seconds. Now one thing is, I'll add a marker here. So this marker enables me to jump from one point to another based on this marker. You can see if I add another marker here, click on this, you can see I can move through the markers. So markers are very important. So I'll put it here. I'll click on the image layer, click here to stretch it to fill the whole 6 seconds. If you don't know about layer, we also have a video on how to explain in details how to work with layer in Alight Motion. Alright, so now based on the sample, we need to scale in the image layer. So we click on the move, we go to the scale. First of all, this is the final size. So let's go to the end and add a keyframe. Right, then let's go to the beginning and scale it up. Now this is up to you. You might decide to scale it way further than this, way more than this. So it's up to you. So let's say something like this, then I play back.
Once there was a man who saw the world in electricity. His name was Nikola Tesla.
Okay, so something like this is okay by
Once
me.
there was a man who
For you, it may be too fast, it may be too slow. So like I say, everything is up to you. It's what you like. It's a creative decision. So for me, this is okay. Alright, so it's just
Once there was a man who
scaling
saw the world in
in
electricity. His name was Nikola Tesla.
Alright, no, because if you take a look at the easing, if you don't know about easing, also as a beginner, there's a tutorial on that. Please check it out to explain how all of this works so that you have a proper understanding. But by default, when you add 2 keyframes, when you animate 2 keyframes, you get a linear easing. And for this situation, it's okay. I don't need to add the ease to this. I just want it to gradually go from one position to another. But as time goes on, I'm showing you how to use the other ease. But we have a tutorial on that you can watch. Alright, So
Once there was a
we've
man.
created this. Let's go to our slide. Now the slide, now that we've animated the background using the scale property, now we need to add an effect. For us to create this, we need to add an effect. We need to make use of an effect. And the effect here is the swirl effect. Okay, so let's go to our effect tab, click on it. Guys, click on the image layer because the image layer you want to add the effect. Then we'll click on this effect here. Then you click on the add effect. You can search for the effects. Well, search for it is way more faster if you know what you're looking for. So it gives you this effect. You can see
Once there was a man who saw the world
this kind of effect we get. All right, so now let's go to the swirl effect because you can see it here, and you can play around with these values here. So you can shift it from the center, move it to another side. But for the strength, you can increase the strength. If you want it to be more drastic, something like this. You can increase the radius to make it, cover a whole image. But something like this is okay by me. Then something like this is okay by me. So like I say, all this is up to you. You might decide to make the radius big. Maybe this is what you like, or maybe you fit the kind of scene you want to create. All right, so we don't have much doing here. We don't have much we can do here. It's okay like this by me, and the strength is okay like this. Okay, so now the next step is we need to add another effect again, which is the circular ripple effects. And after we add it, we need to animate the face property. That is to create an animation. All right, so let's go in and also add that. Okay, click on this, go to the add effects, click on add effects, and well, even me, I don't really know where some effects are immediately. So that's why there's this shout button here. You can just search for the effects. Okay, that's it here. So I don't know. Let me. All right. So this is circular ripple. So let me add it to the layer. You can use presets, but for now, let us go with the standard value so that we animate it ourselves.
Once there was a man who saw.
So you can see, if you can look closely, if you can see it, you can see that it gives you this circular, just like what it says, the circular ripple effect. So now let's open the effects and play around with it. You can see the center value also move. You can see it moves it, but we don't want to mess with this. Maybe down the line there's a video you are creating and moving this works for you, but for this situation, no. Okay, now for the frequency, sometimes I can't really tell you what this does unless you play around with it. You get? So even me, I play around with it a lot. I just scroll and say, okay, well, I don't think I want this. Okay, now let's move to the next one. The strength is like, okay, you can see the effect that the strength gives us. Okay, so I think around somewhere here is okay by me. Now this is the face that we're animating. This face, you can see it creates this type of animation. So this is what we will be animating. Now for the radius, that is, we need to stretch it out. You can see so that it fills the whole image. This circular ripple effect and the swirl effect seems to have this similar stuff. So as time goes on, you will understand what each of these does, because you know that okay, radius now means it expands its influence. I can see, so it expands it now throughout the whole image, the composition. Okay, now for the fader, I don't think we really need to work with this one. This one kind of fades the effects from the edge, something like that. All right, so now we'll be animating the face property, see, to give us this type of animation. Okay, now I think the strength is too much. Let me just bring it down a little bit. Okay, so now let's go to the beginning. Now for you to animate an effect, make sure that property you want to animate is highlighted. If it's not highlighted, you'll be animating different things. So make sure that the face is highlighted. Then click the button here, that is the keyframe button. Go to the end here and increase the face like this. I don't know by how much, but we'll just do it like this. Then go to the beginning and
Once
play.
there was a man who saw the world in electricity. His name was Nikola Tesla.
Okay, simply I'm not feeling the effect of this face. Let me increase it very well. So let's play again.
Once there was a man who saw the world in electricity. His name was Nikola Tesla.
Alright, so this is fine by me, but if it is me working on this, I might still play around and tweak and all of that. But now you understand what is going on here. So as you're following this tutorial, you can create your own. You can, maybe this one is not okay by
Once
you.
there was a man
Probably you want it to be more faster, or you want the radius to be smaller. So all this decision is up to you. All right. So now we've created the background. As simple as that. We animate the image. We add two effects. Play around with the effects, and that's it. Okay. So now let's check our slide. Let's see. Okay. Now this is the ripple effects value. If you want to follow it, this one is from the main one I created. So you can also follow this value to get exact effects, but that's fine. And that's it. We've created the background. Okay. Now step 2, we need to animate Tesla image. You can see. So I guess by now you're not understanding that when it comes to animation and all that, it's all about layering work upon work upon work. Now you see, after creating the background, we are now adding the image on it to tell the story. Okay. All right. So now you need to first of all download this Tesla image. Yet, but the image has a background, and you have to remove the background. Because if you see, this one don't have a background. It's just the outline of Tesla itself. Because I download this from Google. So an image without background is called PNG. That is, the background is transparent. It's called PNG. Though some PNG do have background. I don't know about that, but so we need to make this. We need to remove the background. Now there's a tool. There are different ways you can remove background. You can do it the hard way and you can do it the easy way. There's a tool that you can use to remove background. You can see this is what I'm talking about. So you can see preparing the image. This is the one I download. You can see there's a background, but we need to remove the background. So there's an Adobe tool, Adobe provide, that enables you to remove an image. Just upload the image and the background will be removed. Most of the time it does a good job. All right, so that's that. Just download the image, but I think the one in the folder already has a transparent background. I don't know, but if it doesn't, just go to the website, upload the image to remove the background for you and you use. It's all about working fast, because the other ways you can start using the mask tool in Alight Motion to do this, but it will take you way long. So why stress yourself? Okay, so now that you've removed the background, or you have the background with you, let's animate it. So in order to do that, we need to first of all import the image. So let's import this image. So I'll go in here, and sometimes you need to watch where your playhead is. If your playhead is here and you import an image, the image will start around this timeline, this time mark. So just go to the beginning, click, go to the image. Okay, here is it. Now this one, the background is already removed. That is, I've already removed the background. Click to add it in. Okay, bringing it in is big. So we'll go to our move and transform, go to our scale it down. Well, if doing it like this is low, just click here and let me just enter a value. Let me say 500. Okay, maybe 500 is too small. Let me say 600. All right, though we'll still play around with the value actually. So you can just click here and easily enter a value. to save you from scrolling. Alright, so let me bring this down around somewhere here. Okay. Alright, so let's go back to a slide. You can see what we have here is very simple. The image just, first of all, the image, we animate the position of it. There's image just coming from below the composition up. Very simple animation. But at the same time, we'll play around with curves. Alright? So for the beginners, if you don't understand what curve is, please check out, we have a tutorial on that. So just check it out. Okay? So let's play this thing again.
Once there was a man who saw.
Okay. So now you can see by default, when you import a layer, the total length will be 2 seconds. Though you can change it. There's a place that you can change the total length of any layer that you import in. So let's go back to the end here. Click and let's stretch it to fill the end of the composition. Okay, so now let's animate the position. Let's bring this down. So this is the final position. So let me play again.
Once there was a man who saw.
So I think I'll stop it around somewhere here.
I want to make the duration of the animation 1 second. We can still bring it down, we can still reduce it, and we can still increase the duration. So for now, let me just make it 1 second, around somewhere here. So this is the final position. Let me add a keyframe. Go to the beginning and just bring it down. Always watch out for this red line. This red line shows you that you are still in line, that is aligned. You see, if I move it somewhere here, you can see some of that showing, but if I move it close, you can see the red line is showing. Okay, so now if I play.
Once there was a man who saw the world.
Now, like I said before, when you add 2 keyframes, when you animate 2 keyframes, the default you get is linear. But in this situation, the linear keyframe is not what we want. It's not giving us the kind of motion we want. Because now, if you go back to the sheet, you can see this is how the curve is. So that it starts fast and slow down towards the head. This is the motion. This is the movement we are going for. Alright, so let's replicate it. It's very simple. Now make sure that you can see, if I'm not between 2 keyframes, you will not see anything here. So you have to be in between 2 keyframes. Alright, so now we can just do it like this. Let's start slowly, then slow down gradually towards the end. Let's see if I play.
Once there was a man who
you can see the movement now is different. So okay, so now we have animate this. Now let's check the slide and see what we have next. Alright, so the next thing here is to add a null layer. Parent the image layer to the null layer. And if you don't know how to parent a layer, watch this video. Okay, we have a video on parenting, so you can check it out. It's on YouTube and it's a quick one so that you understand what it's all about. Now for the beginners, don't feel like this is too much. Once you've watched and you've understand it for life. There's no need for you to go back and watch again. You've already understand it. Just like the intermediates and the pro watching this video, they don't need to go watch all of this. They already understand. In fact, they will skip this part and move on. Okay? So pay the price. Anything you don't understand, go in, search for it, watch, understand it, and continue. It's just a one-time thing. Then you don't need to do it again. Don't forget it again. Alright, so now let's add a null layer and parent the image to the null layer. So basically what parenting does is that when you parent the image layer to the null layer and you move the null layer, the image layer will move with the null layer. Simple as that. Just like how child follow their parents all around. You get, when you stay a child, you don't want to lose sight of your mother. You always follow your mom. So now let's go out of this and let's add a null layer. So you click here and you go to objects and elements. Then you can see this is a null layer. We add a null layer. Okay, now we need to parent the null layer, the image layer to the null layer. So you click on the image layer, you click here and you choose the null layer. So you click and parent the null layer. Okay, so even with that, nothing really happened. You can see the animation on the image layer is still working. So let us stretch this node to fill the whole 6 seconds. So now let's check the slide and see what the slide tells us. Now we need to animate the scale property of the null layer so that we'll get these effects. If you look at it very well, you can see after it animates in, it starts scaling, start getting bigger. So, but in this situation, we need to animate the scale property of the null. So like I said before, since we already parent the image to the null, if we scale the null, it will affect the image. So let's go and do that now. Now, the decision for this is that when the image has animated out like this, as complete as I know, I told you we are going to do this for like 1 second, right? So by 1 second, the image has stopped animating. All right, that is at this point. So it's now up to us to say, okay, let's start scaling it immediately after it stops its upward movement. Now, this is my own decision. For you, it might be like, okay, I want to start scaling around this around half a second when it has not completed this animation. So it's up to you. You might even say, I want to start scaling around this point. But for me, I'd be like, okay, I want a smooth transition. So when it's immediately, just before it stops its animation around somewhere here, I want it to start scaling up. Okay, so I'll click on the null, go to the move and transform, go to the scale, add a keyframe, go to the end of the whole animation and scale it up. Okay, now you can see we have an issue here. Let me undo all of that. Now you can see this is where the null is found. You can see the null. Now if I scale, it scales from that point. It's not giving us the effects that we're looking for. So in order to solve this, all we need to do is to change the anchor point of the null. Now if you don't know what anchor point is, we have a tutorial on that. That is in Alight Motion, we call it pivot point. If you don't know what pivot point is, we have a tutorial on it. Please check it out. It's a very simple concept. Now in order to access your pivot point, you can see now we are on the position of the null layer. So you click on it again. Now we now have the anchor point. Now you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but you can see this black line, this black dot. So let us bring it down to, you can see it around somewhere here. All right, so now if we go back to the scale, you can see if we scale it up, it's scaling from that point, and that's what we want. So undo. All right, so now let's go back. Like I said, I want the scaling to start around somewhere here, around maybe 17 frame, just before it finishes animation. Add a keyframe, go to the end and scale it up a little bit. Now how much you scale it is also up to you. You know, you can scale it like this, you can make it a lot more bigger. It's up to you. It's a creative decision. But sometimes you need to take a look at it and be like, okay, does it look nice? All right, so me, I'll say around somewhere here is okay. Okay, all right, so if we play back the animation.
Once there was a man who saw the world in electricity. His name was Nikola Tesla.
Okay, so as simple as that. Now if we go back to our slides, now okay, now you can see that the curve is a linear curve. We don't need to manipulate it. We just want it to move gradually. So they don't need manipulating the scale curve. So now let's go to the next. The next one we have here is to add this effect. That is, you need to create this effect. Now this is also my own creative decision. You might be like, okay, I just want it the way it is. I don't want to add all these effects. Fine, that's you. Okay. Now, but the reason why I'm going over the top here is because so that you guys can get used to all of these effects. And I want to use it down the line for forever. So now, in order to get this effect, we need to use the halftone line effect. We need to add it to the image layer and tweak the effect to get something you like or get similar look. You get. So now, let me go back and deselect the null layer and let me click on the image layer. Okay, now let me go to the effects, add effects, and search for the halftone effect, halftone line effects. So which is this, we add it in. All right, so from sometimes when you add most of the time when you add an effect, the looks it gives you instantly is not something you will like, so you just have to play around with the values you have here. All right, so let's start with the amounts. You can see the amount increase, it's increased the amount of line. Okay, so I think let us keep it around where it is. Now for the strengths, you can see if we decrease the strengths, it's giving us a much more darker feel. Now if we even reduce it, all right, so let me say something around here. Now for the angle, you can play around with the angle. Okay, something like this is fine. Not because of the way his head is, maybe that's why I would pick something like this. All right, now you can animate the face. I think by now you should understand what face mean, because we animate it in the circular effect. Okay, now we have not gotten the look that we're looking for. Let me reduce the strength. Okay, it's too much. Let me increase it a little bit. Okay, now for the amount, let me bring down the amount. Okay, no, let me increase it. Let me increase the amount. Increase the amount. Okay. All right, so basically all you just need to do is play around with all of this till you get what you want. As for the color, you can change the color. You can see it gives you something entirely different, so it's up to you to decide if you want to still go with the default color or you have your own color in mind. But for the sake of this tutorial, this is okay. But if you take a look at the slide, the values that give me this effect is already here, so you can copy this value if you want to. But since I'm just playing around, I think this one is okay. All right, so we've added the after effects.
Who saw the world in electricity. His name was Nikola Tesla.
Okay, as simple as that. Now let's go to the next step. Now we need to add the solid effects to the image layer. Then we'll animate the solid effect alpha property. Okay, now let's go back to the image layer. Click on the image, go to add effects, and let's just search for the solid color. Okay, add color. Okay, now if you can see solid color don't have much. It has the color and the alpha property. So now let's change the color. The color we're going for is this type of look. So something like this. Okay, it might not be accurate, but this is close. You can choose your own color if you want to, but that's fine. All right, so now if we play.
Once there was a man who saw the world in electricity. His name was Nikola Tesla.
All right, so that's why at the beginning I said that we should import in the voiceover, because the voiceover gives us that ability to time our animation. Okay, now that we have the solid effect on the layer, I want to remove that solid effect when that name Nikola Tesla is being said by the narrator. So now let's play again.
The world in electricity. His name was Nikola Tesla.
So around somewhere here, I want to start fading out the effect of the solid effect. All right, so click on the image layer, go to the effect, go to the solid color, Now I told you to animate an effect, you need to first of all highlight the property you want to animate. So for the effect, you click on it, add a keyframe, then you play.
Was Nikola Tesla.
Alright, so let's say around somewhere here. Where you place your next keyframe is purely based on you, just purely based on decision. You just place it, then you play. Then if it's too fast, you move it. Then if it's too slow, you shrink it. You get, it's not like I already know where to place my keyframe. It's all guesswork. Alright, so now let's just reduce the effects so that it's going to review our halftone effect. That's what this alpha property does. Okay, so now let's play.
His name was Nikola Tesla.
Okay, now let's play again.
Once there was a man who saw the world in electricity. His name was Nikola Tesla.
Alright, so that is it about this first part. Stay tuned for the next part. Thank you.
Once there was a man who saw the world in electricity. His name was Nikola Tesla.